Welcome back to For You, the official TikTok podcast. I'm your host, Brittany Broski. Today we have the pleasure of speaking with Derek Hough, an Emmy award-winning, decorated professional dancer and choreographer who has blown up on TikTok. Derek, welcome!
Well, thank you very much. Hi, how are you?
Doing all right. Where are you right now?
I am actually in Utah right now. I'm visiting my dad. Yeah, I haven't seen him in like over a year, so it was about that time.
Yeah. It's been, I kind of had a similar thing of like I had not seen, because of Corona, I had not seen my family in probably about a year and 2 months, longest I've ever gone.
Yeah.
Freaky.
It's wild, but it's been good. It's been good to sort of, just to hang out, play some chess,
relaxing.
Yeah.
Yeah, good, love it. Well, let's get into it. Obviously, the world knows you as an amazing dancer and performer, but I mean, that doesn't just happen overnight. Can you take us back to, have you always wanted to perform? What were the early days like?
Yeah, well, for me, so how kind of really started, I have 4 sisters. I'm the only boy. And, I grew up in a family where, music was always on. We were always dancing in the living room. And all my sisters went to dance class, and I would just kind of sit in the parking lot. So, eventually my mom was like, you got to go in there, you got to go in. But I didn't want to go. I was like, no, dancing's too bad. But of course, going in there, I had this amazing coach, amazing teacher who just made it really cool for me. Fell in love with it.
How old do you think you were at that point?
I was about 10 years old, maybe like 9, 10 years old. And, but I used to play drums, before that. And so, understanding rhythm and understanding musicality at a young age, then moving into dance, I was like, oh, I understand this. I get this, from a musical standpoint. And then I had opportunities to compete and then, travel around the world competing in Latin American ballroom dancing. And,
crazy.
And man, I just fell in love with it. And, it's led me to so many different places, so many different opportunities. I've been, obviously doing television on Dancing with the Stars and other shows as well. And dancing it's taken me a lot of different places. So I love it.
Yeah, globally. So how did, Dancing with the Stars, obviously one of the most decorated winners, right, of the show? Question mark?
Yeah.
Crazy. How did that even come about? Like, how do you get into not only the television world, but dancing? Okay. Dance TV is a whole different animal. Like, if there are any dancers listening, I grew up with cousins who were like competitive dancers. And I remember sitting down and them being like, they should have done that better. They should this, that, and the other. It's like the fan base is so intense. Like, do you have any thoughts on it?
The fan base is incredibly loyal, and very opinionated, of course.
Sure.
Which is good. For me, I remember being on World of Dance, judging with Jennifer Lopez and Neo. And we made a decision to, knock out a group who were very, very popular. And we got a lot of hate for it. A lot of,
online,
just like coming at us. And for me, I was very used to that sort of world of, television competition, shows. And, but Neo was like, oh my gosh, Derek, what's all this? What's happening? Did we make the wrong choice? Like, we're getting all this stuff. And I was like, dude,
did we say sorry?
No, yeah. And I was like, oh no, that's great, man. That just means they're really invested. Like they really love this group enough to hate us, which is good for the show. You know what I mean? And good for the, it's good to have people that invested. So that's kind of the way I look at it. It's not, it's just comes with the territory.
Sure. Well, being on the flip side of that judges table, how'd you find that transition? Did you feel qualified, or was it like, man, I'm just a dancer?
For me, I felt really comfortable. I felt really comfortable stepping into the position of, being a judge, because being a dancer and choreographer and what I do, I'm teaching, I'm coaching, I'm creating. And so in a dance studio, that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at what can be better. I'm looking at how I improve this. I'm looking at those things. And so really being a judge is just doing the exact same thing, but now you're just behind a desk. You're just saying, hey, this could be better. Let's work on this. The choreography could be a little bit more, innovative. Try this. So I felt really comfortable in that position. And of course, being a dancer for, over 20 something years, and I've been around, if you will.
Right. Oh, well, it's different, I guess, because you have powder on your face and you're sitting next to J-Lo because you've
Yeah.
been doing the same thing, and now it's just that's crazy to think that by doing something that arguably you were born to do and you have such a passion for, to land and be recognized as such a monolith of the community. That's such an congrats is what I'm trying to say.
Well, thank you. It's actually kind of funny growing up. People, they ask me, like, did you ever want to be a dancer or choreographer? I'm like, absolutely. Like, no, it was never sort of my.
Yeah. What other career paths did you ever consider?
Well, it's funny, being, I think people always had that dream of like being like a rock star, right? Like,
Sure.
I loved like rock music and emo music, and growing up I was in bands playing drums and guitar,
Right.
and the nail varnish, the eyeliner, and all that stuff. And but by the way, the funny thing is I would be playing in a punk rock band. I have like all, the whole get up, the black clothes, the hair, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would have to like, the next day I would be at a Latin and ballroom competition in like a sparkling rhinestone shirt, dancing the cha-cha. And then I would take that off. The next day I'm back into punk rock. Like I had these like complete, alter egos.
You Hannah Montana'd it.
Yeah, it's for real. For real. It's kind of cool to think that I'm realizing a dream of, being on stage and performing and, rocking out with people, but just through dance, so it's, it's really cool. Oh, hi, Dad. Oh, hi. How you doing?
Dad.
Look, he's trying to sneak out, and I'm like, you're in the frame.
A little cameo. Yeah. Well, you were talking about, dancing is a form of creating, which I kind of want to touch more on, because we are in this sort of, with the introduction of social media in the past couple of years, everyone is a creator.
It's amazing to think how many amazing creative people have always been out there, but are only now, being seen, essentially. And it's really cool. It's really, really cool. And it's funny to feel and to hear people's resistance of like, and for me, I'm like, this is a beautiful like window into some really creative people. It's awesome.
Absolutely. I've always kind of, felt that from the beginning, where we started to see the rise of creators. It's like, this has never been seen before in the creative space, because there was so much red tape to become even recognized or seen for your art. And it took years. Yeah. And so now, a 17-year-old in their bedroom can have 11 million followers from their paintings. It's insane. Like, how special of a time do we live in?
Yeah, those are, and that's another one I love looking at, are like the artists,
Absolutely.
I'm like, wow. I will say this from a dance community perspective. Mm-hmm. I will also say this. I am a huge champion of, TikTok dance. I think it's amazing because it's getting people moving and dancing. Yeah. Well, because it's getting people moving and dancing that otherwise might not have, you know what I mean? So I'm a component for like, let's get involved. Let's dance. Let's move. I think it's healthy, to dance and to move. However, I think that it's also very important in the dance community perspective. If you're striving to be a professional dancer, or at a certain level of dance, essentially, if that's what your hope is, that I would always strongly suggest and strongly recommend that you never sort of substitute training and, like proper rehearsals and like proper training over just trying to do some dances. You know what I mean? If that's what you want to do, then I'm like a huge champion of you. I'm like, I'm doing this for you. But if you want to be a professional, like high standard, dancer, then, never substitute that. You can't substitute training. You can't substitute quality. You can't substitute the time that puts in those hours. You know what I mean? Right. And you can do both. You can do both. And sure. And so yeah.
I have some fun games for you if you're down for it, Derek Hough.
Let's go.
Okay, lightning round, dance trivia. Derek, are you ready?
I'm so ready.
I'm getting my timer going. This is like official and serious. Okay. And go. There are two categories of ballroom dance used in competition: Latin and what?
Ballroom dancing or standard.
Smooth is what it's called. Okay. I'm like, duh.
That's another type.
Oh, okay, so I'm wrong. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, which famous martial arts icon was the Cha-Cha champion of Hong Kong in 1958?
I'm just gonna go ahead and say Bruce Lee.
Yes!
Yes.
Square dance is a modern term to describe which type of dance?
Square dance is a modern term to square two-step Western
That's what I thought too. It's contra dance.
Contra.
Yeah, contra. I've never heard of that.
It sounds like that video game, like Contra. I was like, okay,
Yeah,
wow, cool.
based on a video game. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
In the classical ballet format, there are strictly only how many positions?
Oh, 5.
Yes!
Yes.
You know, look, the timer just went off. You nailed that too.
Wow.
Would you say that TikTok dance is a different genre of dance? It's like a new, like where else are these? I mean, a lot of moves are pulled from traditional
Right.
forms of dance, but it's arguably a brand new version.
Yeah, I suppose. I'm trying to think like, I guess it kind of is especially from a popularity standpoint. For instance, if, somebody does something on a show, they're like, oh, that's a TikTok dance.
Right.
I mean?
Yeah.
They don't go, hey, that's a move that TikTok, adapted it. They just go, oh, that's a TikTok move, or that's a TikTok
100%.
dance. So in that sense, yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
Love it. Well, just talking about, like popular TikTok dances, your famous video with the D'Amelio sisters. If we want to pull that up just to get a little sneak peek.
But by the way, this is hilarious because wait. Oh yeah, I forgot about this one.
This is a long time ago.
Wow. And by the way, long time ago, 1.5 years.
Can you believe it? This feels like, I remember seeing this and being like, oh, okay, I'm 13 years old.
Yeah.
No.
By the way, it's hilarious because I was doing the whole like, oh, hey guys, how do you use this thing? What's this ticky tock? What's this tickety tock thing?
What's going on here?
Yeah, and I remember Dixie being like, "You're so lame."
They roasted you for it?
She did. She said, "Oh my gosh, you're reminding me of something." And I went, "Oh, what's that?" And then she showed me like this. It was a TikTok of this guy going, "Celebrities joining TikTok be like, oh hey guys, is this thing on? What is this?" And I was like, touche. So I duetted the video, and I kind of made fun of myself because I like to make fun of myself.
You have to, yeah.
But it was funny. I was like, this. She's what's up. She does what's up.
She clocked you.
She clocked me good.
Well, something, kind of going back to TikTok, something we kind of want to shed light on is how long prep for TikToks can take. I mean, when you sit down to film a TikTok, what's going through your head? Do you have a burst of creativity, or is it kind of like, I should probably post? Like, what's your thought process?
To be honest with you, usually they're very much like in the moment, just like, oh, let's do this. Boom, here, blah, 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 blah. And that's what's kind of fun about it. And, you just kind of knock it, you shoot it, you put it out, and then there it is,
It's instantaneous. It's
wild.
Yeah.
It's absolutely wild. But I will say, but then I look at other people's, creatives, I see their TikToks, and I'm thinking like, wow, this thing had a script. This thing had this thing was like full on thought through. And I'm always in awe of those creatives. And yeah, it's amazing. So I don't know. I'm sure there might be a time to, because I will say there's some projects coming up for me, personally, that are going to be very, time consuming.
Sure.
So yeah, so it's I'm always like, hey, let me get in there and let me do a TikTok here and knock it out. And yeah,
and
it happens quick.
Yeah, that's kind of the beauty of it,
Yeah.
Post and go. And they're always very positive. I mean, whatever it feels like you put out into the world, it's very positive and lighthearted content. Is that something that's important to you? Spreading joy and smiles.
Smile. That's for me. I think that was also quite conscious because I have so many different sort of, as we all do, different parts of ourselves, and I have and this part of myself, for me is, focused on the fun part, the light, the joy. And yeah, and I think that was kind of conscious as well, especially with last year being such a dense, that's the only word I can think about. It's just everything just felt like heavy and just kind of like weighted.
For sure.
And I appreciated it, and I loved, and I dove into so many different things, and privately. But for me, I was like, oh, you know what? I feel like my role in this is going to be just some fun, just some joy, just some light. Yeah.
I kind of took the same approach of like, when you find those little pockets of joy, share them, as they come about, because everyone was struggling. And I was getting an influx of comments that were like, things are just bad right now. When I go on your page, it feels a lot better. So I'm sure people, feel that way about not only you, but just the dance community in general. It is something to pour yourself into and escape into. And I'm sure a lot lot of, creatives feel that way. So
for me, mental health obviously is always been very important, been very, very important to me, through my own journeys and people around me and their journeys, and really researching and attending seminars and watching, videos. So for me, that's a very, very important part of my life, in helping others and lifting them up and elevating them, and helping them through, certain, struggle.
right.
But I feel like there was sort of a time for those moments, time for those sort of, at least for me, to sort of interject that within this platform, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. But otherwise, to keep it quite fun and lighthearted.
Love it. Well, moving on from the doom and gloom of 2020. So I have some would you rathers. So first one, you mentioned being an emo boy. You got to pick My Chemical Romance or Fall Out Boy.
My Chemical Romance.
Easy.
Yeah.
Cha-cha or tango?
Argentine tango.
Ooh. Okay. A little spice, a little clarification there.
No. Tango, you're absolutely right. But I love Argentine tango.
Got it.
Yeah.
What's the difference between that and the stereotypical tango?
Tango is just a little bit more like structured, a little more, linear, if you will. And Argentine tango is more like about the legs and the ganchos and the crazy legs. And
love it.
It's all more entangled, if you will.
Okay, cool.
More passionate.
Favorite outfit that you had on Dancing with the Stars? Do you have one?
Oh, there's too many to count. I don't know. Literally
so many rhinestones.
So many. By the way, what's funny? When I was on Dance with the Stars, there was a time when I was like, no more rhinestones. I'm sick of it. No. And then when I was on World of Dance, like I was just like, more rhinestones. We need more sparkles. and I missed it. I was like, I never knew what I had until I left.
Until it's gone.
But now I'm back on Dancing with the Stars. I'm like, all the rhinestones.
I love it. Why'd you give it up? What was too much about it?
I don't know. I think I was just over it. I was like, this is cheesy, and I don't. It looks ridiculous. Right. And then I don't know what I was thinking. It looks amazing. It looks incredible.
Under the lights and catching the movement.
Expensive. I love it.
Opulence.
Opulence, darling.
What is the worst outfit you've ever had to wear to any dance competition, dance show?
Oh boy. Again, too many to count, but I will say there's one that I designed when I was a kid, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna design my costume, and I'm drawing it out.
Designer.
Yo, yeah. I did the shading and everything, and I remember giving it to my coach and be like, what do you think? And it was like tiger print cuffs, tiger print collar, like tiger print, and in my mind, I'm like, yo, this is genius.
You're like, this is fire.
Oh man. And they were like, yeah, no, it's not gonna happen. I was like, well, wait, but what if it was white tiger?
And it's set in Vegas.
Yeah, it was bad. They're
like, please stick to the dancing. We're begging you.
Yeah.
Our best way to treat blisters. Do you have any tips and tricks?
Yeah, there's a thing called new skin. It's extremely painful when you put it on, but you put it on and it burns like nothing ever felt in your life. But it creates basically a layer over your skin, And so, yeah, it's just like, it kind of protects your, yeah. It's so if I have a big blister on the back of my heel, I'm like,
Mhm.
but you have to dance, you just put that on there, burn, suffer for a few minutes, and then it creates a like a hard layer over the top of it.
Interesting. So you
Yeah,
could
new
put a
to me.
shoe right back over it and you're ready to go like in the next
Yeah,
hour?
yeah, pretty much. I mean, I still
Wow.
put Band-Aid and some cushion stuff over it, but like it
Right.
just protects it when, especially when it's like raw and it's like open wound. It's,
Okay. Got it.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, back to the picking. Sorry, I just needed the
yeah.
tea really quick. Um, dancing or choreographing?
um, Dancing.
Okay, cats or dogs?
It's tough, man. I would say dogs, but I just now have two cats and I love them so much.
Gotta pick
So,
one. Gotta pick one.
dogs.
Got it. World of Dance or Dancing with the Stars? Sorry, had to
Oh
do it.
my gosh, it's tough. I'll listen just from a state of years. Dancing with the Stars. I've been a part of that show for 12 years, so
Loyalty. He's a
loyalty.
loyal man.
Yeah, but I love World of Dance. I love World of Dance.
Right. You know, coming from the television side of things where it's audition after callback to TikTok,
Mm-hmm.
you know, how do you compare the two?
Oh
Is it nice?
well, what I love about it too is it's instant, right? You have an idea, it's like
Absolutely.
you're like, boom, there it is. You know what I mean? I have an idea, boom, there it is. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
cool to see, you know, celebrities like yourself so accessible. It's crazy. Like, where else could this have happened? You know what I mean? I hope you feel welcomed by the TikTok community.
Yeah,
You've got a
yeah.
little fan base going.
I guess, I don't know. Again, I revert back to my nieces and nephews who introduced me to it.
Right.
And so yeah, there's definitely some moments where I'll get a comment or two from you know my nephew being like or one of his friends being like, "Yo, Aiden, come pick up your uncle."
Come get this man.
Yo, come get your uncle, bro. And he's like, on my way.
I love it.
So for me, I'm very fully aware of that. But it actually is kind of funny, even just within the year, to see the growth of really the demographic of TikTok too.
Yeah.
You know,
I've got my grandparents on TikTok.
Yeah.
Like, what? Crazy.
I love it. It's been so much fun.
How did that collab with the D'Amelios come about? How did y'all meet? Was that arranged?
You know what's funny actually is that Charlie came and saw one of my shows in I think it was in Connecticut. She came to one of my live shows, and her and her family, and so when I met them, because they were in the dance community, they go to they go to the dance conventions and everything, and then they came to my live show. And so when I met her and I met her mom and talking with her dad, they're like, "Oh yeah, we saw your show, we loved it. We were like front row." And
wow.
And then I was like, "Oh, that's amazing." And like, and what are we doing today? And they're like, "We're gonna do this Britney Spears dance thing." And I was like, "What is this?" it was such a bizarre sort of thing, because also too, it was there was like a bunch of people there, and I think it was like a bunch of I don't know, like agents or something, who brought their kids and were like, "All right, now go do a dance with Charlie.
Go create.
go do something." And I was just like this older guy be like, "Can I do a TikTok?"
Can somebody teach me how to use the TikTok?
Well, like I said before, I was like, "What is this thing? What is this craziness?"
Go get my glasses. Well, Derek, you've been in the entertainment industry for, you said almost 20 something years. I'm sure you've had your fair share of struggles alongside with the successes. What is kind of like the come up story of how you broke into television, and were there any major struggles? Did you ever feel like quitting at certain points?
Oh yeah.
If you want to talk about that at all.
Yeah. No. Well, like I said, I started competing in dance when I was like 13 years old, 13 to like 22. And, that was my regiment was like, it was like, school 9 to 6, and I had to get the train to school every day. It took me an hour to get to school every day.
Wow.
Come home, dance, practice. And then Saturdays would be all dance lessons, and then Sundays would be competitions. And I would drive to Birmingham or to, you know, I don't know, Bournemouth, because I lived in the UK for 10 years. And
Oh wow.
so, you know, we're driving to the competition to compete, and then the whole thing would start again. So it was a lot, you know, it was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time I got to, you know, I was on Dancing with the Stars and stuff, um, I just felt kind of like burn out a little bit. I was like, I don't know if I enjoy this anymore. You know, I
Mm.
like what I kind of lost sight of why I started dancing in the first place. Like, so I had to ask myself that question. I was like, why did I start? Like, where did it all begin? And I kind of
Right.
went back to really dancing with my family in the living room and being silly and just fun, having fun. And why do we dance? Oh, because it makes us feel good, you know, because
Right. Right.
it's a sense of release and liberation. It's like, this feels great. And I kind of lost that because it became about like winning and training and like, you
The
know,
details start to weigh you down.
and just like constantly breaking yourself down to try to become better. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so yeah, so there was just like a shift where I just started remembering the joy of it all. But
Mm.
also too, for so many years being a competitive dancer, and even on Dancing with the Stars, still competing. It before being on Dancing with the Stars, it was about me. You know, me and my partner. You know, it was like
Mm-hmm.
I need to get better. I need to be the best. And so it's quite selfish. You know, which you need to be, because it's like you're focusing on your progress.
Right.
But when you're doing that, it kind of it has a it's not sustainable. You know, it's not sustainable. So once it changed to being like, oh, how can I teach somebody? How can I help somebody? How can I lift them up? You know, it just gives it's so much more of a sustainable energy behind it when you're like helping somebody else and you're lifting somebody else up. It's so much more fulfilling, and
Love that.
it's just better. So there was definitely like a shift where there's like a new energy, a new love for entertaining and just having fun and bringing joy. You know what I mean? And for that reason, for that purpose, not because like I want to be this and I want to be that. It's
Right.
like,
Right.
hey, everybody, I love y'all. Like, let's just have some fun and let's bring some joy and let me
Yeah.
help, you know, lift
Sharing
up.
that
So
passion, it sounds like, for dance and creating and art, because it is art. I mean, genuinely, like on TV, it might, sitting in your living room might look easy, but my God, hours and weeks of practice and prep for a 1 minute,
yeah,
you know, wow. Um,
yeah.
I wanted to ask you, just, in this age of blurring gender lines and we're deconstructing gender stereotypes, having grown up and being forced to wear rhinestone suits and all that, did you ever, have any internal struggles with identity or anything like that? Or did you ever mind it? Or was it just part of the craft for you? Or, because
Yeah,
dance is such a androgynous art form,
sure. Yeah, well, you know, it's interesting actually. It's interesting because, you know, for me, you know, obviously, I mean, I was bullied as a kid, you know, because I was a dancer and certain things because, you
Mm,
know, they didn't quite understand, you know, dancing had sort of there was an association to it, perhaps, you know,
right.
from where I was specifically. However, though, for me, interestingly enough, when I dance, when I move, regardless of whatever I'm wearing, I could be wearing whatever. I feel incredibly connected to myself. You know what I
I
mean? I
love
feel
that.
incredibly connected and present. It kind of forces you into the moment. You know what I mean? Like you're not thinking of when you're dancing and doing something, you're not going, I wonder what is happening tomorrow. I'm wondering what, you know, you're very much like forced into the moment. And
Hmm.
that's why you have this beautiful sense of like feeling connected. And for me personally, it was a great way to connect to my masculine energy. You know,
Hmm.
like doing a paso doble or doing something, you know, where I'm dancing with somebody. It's it feel incredibly connected to that. You know, but also for me growing up, I have 4 sisters and I have so
Sure.
many amazing women in my life. So I've always been very connected to, you know, my feminine energy. But and so dancing, so being able to sort of like you know, this sort of like ebb and flow.
Yeah.
But dancing is always a beautiful way to tap into any type of energy or any type of feeling, um, and to really feel connected to that, you know,
Love
and
that.
to yourself.
Love that. Beautiful answer. What do you have coming up? Is there anything you'd like to promote, talk about? I know you've got some stuff coming up with ABC question mark, if you can talk about it.
Yeah, there's I can't, unfortunately, can't full on talk about it right now, but there is
Got it.
but it is some really exciting things, and I will say this specific project,
Mm-hmm.
one of this guy that I just idolize. I think he's brilliant. I think he's hilarious. He's kind of a genius, and really has entertained us for, anyways, he's amazing. And we're going to create this project together. We just sold it. It's happening.
Yes.
But what's the craziest part about it is that, this is a guy who I think is brilliant. And he'll call me like 6 times a day, like, hey, what do you think about this? I'm like, and I still can't get over it. I'm like, oh my gosh. Look, and every time I'm like, yo, look who's calling me. Hey man, what's up? This is and then like 5 minutes later, he'll call me back up. Oh, he's calling me again. Hold on. Hey, what's up? What's going on? So it's kind of funny. I still have to get past. I'm a little bit like fanboying a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be really exciting. He's genius. So yeah.
Looking forward to it. Well, Derek, where can we find you? What are your handles on your social medias?
My handle, I don't have a good handle. No, my handle, it's at Derek Hough, DerekHough, like rough or tough, but with an H,
Easy peasy.
That's it.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. This was so fun. I got a little insight into your brain.
There it is.
There it is in the flesh.
I appreciate you, Brittany. Appreciate you.